Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Sports Insight with your host, Alamdar Khan. And yes, as you know, we provide all sorts of information with regards to sports from all across the globe. Anyways, you can surely reach out to us on our social media handle, which is at the rate of Indus News Sports. That actually works for Twitter and Instagram both. But anyways, we'll go to the headlines first. Yes, from the world of PSL, Lahore Qalandars actually win against Quetta Gladiators on Monday. And Australia versus New Zealand T20. Yes, Convoy excels as New Zealand nails Australia in the first T20. And from the world of NBA, Chicago Bulls beat Houston Rockets while Dallas Mavericks defeated the Grizzlies on Monday. And Crystal Palace beat Brighton 2-1 in English Premier League. And yes, those were the headlines, and not to forget that we're talking about the cricket part first, because this is Pakistan Super League that is underway, and not to forget that Mohamed Hafiz and Fakhr Zaman actually managed to take the lead where obviously Lahore Qalandars had to go. And even then, Chris Gayle had a brilliant performance, but unfortunately Quetta Gladiators had to lose, and the loss was obviously Lahore Qalandars winning by 9 wickets. And to discuss this, we have with us our first-class cricketer, Mr. Awais. Awais, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
So let's talk about the electrifying performance by Fakhr Zaman and Mohamed Hafiz, how they actually managed to take the victory out of the hands of Quetta Gladiators. How did you see the match?
I was happy, yesterday, especially for Lahore Qalandars, because Lahore Qalandars has never been one of the electrifying team. If you just watch it in the tournaments being held up for Pakistan Super League, Lahore has always struggled to especially gel up the unit. And in the previous Pakistan Super League, the way they went on, unfortunately, they lost the finals. And this is tournament, if you just watch out, it was a different team for us. The way they won the first T20 match, the second T20 yesterday, and especially the way Hafiz and Fakhr Zaman came into the party against Quetta Gladiators. Because if you just compare the bowling line of Quetta and Lahore, still Quetta had an edge over there because they had some serious pace with them. They had some, but there's a myth always that says catches always win matches for you. Right. And you have just seen yesterday, the way especially I would say Quetta Gladiators, the way they started on to bat on Chris Gayle was fabulous with the firepower with them. Right. Sarfraz was going on good, but unfortunately when Lahore came to bat on, many of the catches were dropped off, and especially I would say about Shinwari. The bowling has been way down. If you just remember, he has been part of the Pakistan T20 side, the one-day side, even he has been the part of the Big Bash. But his bowling has not been that what the team, especially I would say the Quetta Gladiators wanted from him.
Right. And if we even look into performance-wise, as you discussed, Chris Gayle did an electrifying performance from Quetta Gladiators, and it's going to be the second defeat for them. So how do you see them making a comeback, even though PSL has just started, only a few matches have been done so far. But how do you see what kind of strategies? Because to be honest, when you look at the score, 178 for 6 and 20 overs is a pretty intense score, which actually shows that Lahore Qalandars are fully gelled up, ready, and looking forward to win not only maybe these matches, but I'm sure they're looking forward to somehow they manage themselves to be in the semi-finals or maybe the finals.
The score which was yesterday piled up by Quetta Gladiators, it was good total on this wicket. Karachi wicket, if you just watch out, many of them are complaining about the Karachi wicket, that it's not that what electrifying the other T20 wickets are, especially of Lahore, I would say. Right. I was in a show and I was discussing the same thing, that when you travel to Lahore, obviously you'll have more high-scoring games. Right. Karachi wicket is a little bit slow. If you just watch it in the first T20 match, it was slow. There was no much bounce in it, which could actually help the batsmen to go for big boundaries, because Chris Gayle loves the ball to come onto the bat easily. Right. Even if you watch out Multan Sultan, they had Chris Lynn in them. He loves the ball to come onto the bat easily because they are morely used to the wickets which actually support the batting. But Karachi wicket has been slow. The score which was yesterday piled up by Quetta Gladiators was a good fighting total, a good fighting score against Lahore Qalandars, because Lahore Qalandars, I know they are a good side, but still they have been struggling. Whenever you have a big match, a pressure match, Lahore does struggle. And especially, I was happy to see Fakhr Zaman coming back into the party, because you wanted Fakhr Zaman to score. If you remember, especially about Pakistan, we won the Champions Trophy because of Fakhr Zaman's firepower. Right. You need that firepower in the opening stance, and he had done brilliantly, I would say. You saw a different Fakhr Zaman yesterday, and hope so that he carries this momentum for Lahore Qalandars because Fakhar Zaman and Mohamed Hafiz will play a vital role for Lahore Qalandars to clinch this trophy. And it's unfortunate, I would say, that Chris Gale is heading back to West Indies, but he would join the Quetta Gladiators when they travel to Lahore. But it's a big blow for Lahore Qalandars that Rashid Khan won't be available for the rest of Pakistan Super League because he's traveling for his national duty. Rest, I mean, it looks a good side, but because I mean, when Chris Gale departs, they have got Duplessis in it, Quetta Gladiators. It's just coming back into getting yourself gelled up. I mean, learning from your mistakes, what Quetta has been doing on. They just need to learn from their mistakes and they need to gear up again because it's a long tournament. The tournament hasn't finished up. Still, they have got chances, but it's just that Sarfraz and the company, they really need to understand how to come back. What Quetta Gladiators was known in all the 5 editions.
Right. Besides that, even if you look back, up till now, there have been 4 matches that have been done so far. And with regards to the scoring line, as discussed, it was a super total. I think with anything that's above 160, even though you've mentioned that Karachi's store wicket with regards to, if we look at Lahore side. But even then, they still, I think they did decide to ensure that they are on a solid side, even with that heavy bowling attack against Lahore. But they managed not to win. And even with Lahore Qalandars, let's talk about Mohamed Hafiz. Obviously, he has to prove his worth, and he's actually always proved his worth, missing out on the recent tour, which obviously kind of was definitely an upsetting part for him. So I think he's also out there proving himself, not only as Mohamed Hafiz, but obviously ensuring that Lahore Qalandars wins.
I mean, see, Mohamed Hafiz, we always say one thing that because you have got the T20 World Cup coming up, and in the major tournaments, obviously, you need 2 senior campaigners with you. I know people might not agree with me, but still, you need Mohamed Hafiz and Shoaib Malik in the middle order because seniors gelled up with the youngsters do play a vital role for the team. You have seen the Champions Trophy too when Pakistan won on the senior campaigners gelled up with the youngsters and won the Champions Trophy. Right. Hafiz has always been a vital role for Pakistan, whether if it's bowling, whether if it's batting for you. You saw yesterday, I don't know whether it was the miscommunication between the Pakistan Cricket Board when he went for playing the T10 and he actually offered them to come back and serve his national duty. But I don't know what was the issue. Why did the Pakistan not elect him for the recent two, for the South Africa tour? But he has shown again his class, what he's known for. At the age of 40, he looks fit. He knows how to actually accelerate when the pressure is coming on the team. He knows how to ease up. He knows how to actually rotate the strike. What a senior campaigner does to a team, and he has been going on fabulous. And it's I would say it is need for the Pakistan team too, because you're entering into the Asia T20, you're entering into the T20 World Cup. So you need your senior campaigners, especially I would say, to come back into the form and to actually play a vital role when they enter into the major tournaments.
Right. Let's talk about not only this, let's talk about the previous few matches that actually happened. Obviously, Quetta Gladiators have lost 2 of them. Let's talk about how Islamabad United managed to win against Multan Sultan, if we want to add or share your reviews about it.
Many of them, they actually complained about Sohail Tanveer, I would say, because as a senior campaigner, Sohail Tanveer has been one of the, I would say, best T20 player around the world, around the globe. I mean, if you just watch out in any league, just except the IPL, he has been one of the famous cricketers and every team want him in the team because of his T20 specialist.
Right.
Bad day do come for everyone, but unfortunately, that match was a win match for Multan Sultan. It was a proper, I would say, a stage set up by Multan bowlers, by the batsmen of Multan. But that one over changed the whole momentum. Gregory was looking fabulous, I would say. The way he won the match for Islamabad United, I didn't see that pressure on him because still, I think so it was in Sohail Tanveer's over, you required, I think so around 19 or 20 runs were required. But the way he played, they never looked that he's under pressure. He led the team well. He won the match for them. Right. But it's again, I would say, especially your captain Shadab Khan has been a good captain for Islamabad United. With the ball, with the bat, he has delivered well. And the opening department of Islamabad too looks really good. You have got Phil Salt opening up with Alex Hales. You know how strong they both are. Shadab Khan coming up at number 1 down position. It's that Shadab Khan. Now I would say that it's just a one match. But still, he needs to play that innings what he played in the previous Pakistan Super League because he actually is now known as a genuine all-rounder for Pakistan. And he's led well the Islamabad United. There were talks coming up that he could be the next captain for T20 of Pakistan. Right. So he has got that germs in him. It's just that Multan Sultan, especially if we talk about Multan, they are gelled up with experience. They have got everything in them. The
Right.
batting is there. They have that bowling. They have that like of Afridi over there. Chris Lane, who was in Lahore Qalandars, now is picked up for Multan Sultan. It's just that getting used to that kind of wickets. They
Right.
need to get used to that kind of wickets.
And knowing, as you said, that the team is instantaneously gelled so well, like talking about Multan Sultan itself, Mohammad Rizwan is one of the key phenomenal people out there that have actually been an asset to them. How do you see Mohammad Rizwan has actually risen to the point of the class that we actually need for any team?
Rizwan has, I would say, gradually improved himself day by day. If you just
Right.
watch out, you see that germ in him that he's hungry for runs, he's hungry for winning,
Right.
especially because you needed at the top because you remember, I mean, I was speaking about Fakhar Zaman. If you remember, there were complaints about Fakhar Zaman that he hasn't been consistent for Pakistan. Yes, he wasn't consistent for Pakistan. Pakistan was struggling to find a genuine T20 opener for them.
Right.
Babar Azam, on the other hand, everyone knows how classy he is. And
Right.
this was a big turn for Pakistan. I would say that getting Rizwan as an opener in the T20s, performing for Pakistan as a fighting spirit, I would say. He's got that leadership qualities. He knows how to lead the side. He knows how to actually go for every ball. I mean, it's not important for a batsman to go for every boundary. I mean, it's important that how do you rotate the strike.
Right.
And that's what I love about Rizwan, that he keeps on the scoreboard busy. He
Right.
keeps on going for singles and doubles. And when he has that loose ball, he goes for the boundaries too. And he's improvised his innings. I mean, you just see a total different Rizwan now. He knows how to firepower. He knows how to actually play aggressive innings, what Multan Sultan or the Pakistan team need.
Right. That's a pretty interesting take with regards to obviously he's getting to the level of maturity. Let's talk about the T20 between New Zealand and Australia, in which the first T20 actually happened, in which New Zealand actually came to that point of having people like Devon Conway to begin with.
David Conway, I think so everyone would remember the name now.
Yeah.
Because if you remember, he has been consistently scoring firepower runs for New Zealand. And everyone knows what New Zealand is. I mean, New Zealand is a strong T20 or a one-day side. I mean, the way they have been performing on, especially, under the captaincy of Kane Williamson,
Right.
they have been superb. Then the opening department, when you have got Conway with them,
Right.
then you have Guptill. Everyone knows how strong the opening department could be. It's just that Australia are not looking into good colors. I mean, if you just watch it, even in the previous series, I remember Australia were off color against India.
Right.
And they just need to come back into the form. It's just that they actually need to regain their fitness, the performance of Australia, what they're known for, because Australia is a good quality side. Everyone knows that they can fight back till the end and how they can bounce back in the series. It's just that regaining your confidence and getting back into the form over here. But beating on New Zealand in white ball, especially, I would say it's not an easy job because they have got one of the best captains around in the world.
True.
In Williamson, everyone knows they bat down the order till 5-6 position. They have got best bowling unit. Tim Southey leads them.
Right.
So they're a total, I would say, charged up unit, and it's going to be a tough series for Australia.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Avas, for being with us and discussing the insights not only of PSL but of the New Zealand's matches against Australia. But these T20s will continue because this was the first T20 New Zealand versus Australia. There are 4 more coming up. But anyways, we'll surely be updating you with regards to all the matches that happens. Anyways, I'll see you guys after the break. And welcome back. And yes, after the break, we'll be surely discussing the world of NBA. And not to forget that there have been interesting updates with regards to NBA. And not to forget, as I mentioned before, Chicago Bulls actually managed to win against the Houston Rockets 120 by 100 on Monday. And not only this, there's another update that happened all the way. That was Dallas Mavericks defeated the Grizzlies 102 to 92. Anyways, to discuss this, we have our NBA expert all the way from the US, Nader Malik. Nader, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
All right, now there has been some real updates with regards to the world of NBA, and obviously we would definitely want your input and your analysis with regards to how things are going. We'll start with the first match that we talked about, which is Chicago Bull, their victory against the Houston Rockets 120 by 100. So what's your take on the entire match and how did it truly go?
So right now, what's going on with the Chicago Bulls and both the Rockets and the Bulls is the fact that they're going more towards youth. They, as you know, per our last conversation, they traded James Harden, the Rockets did, and they brought in a couple of players. And now what they're doing is they're going to be getting rid of those players and going full, youth rebuild now.
Right.
So majority of their, the points that one of their guards, David Nawaba, scored 22 points for the team, nine rebounds, 2 assists. Though that guy, this is basically his first year with being upfront with the Rockets.
Right.
John Wall, which was one of the people that was brought in from the trade, he scored 15 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists. So he's doing his job as well. He's one of the veteran people. As far as the Bulls are concerned, Bulls actually fired their previous head coach and hired a new head coach for this season.
Right.
They've been pretty terrible, to be quite honest, for the last few years.
Right.
And they've got a lot of youth. They've got Kobe White, Zach LaVine. Both of those guys put up 20 points. Kobe White had 24 points, 10 boards, 2 assists, and Zach had 21 points, 5 assists.
Right.
Those two guys are the heart of that team, right? They're young guys. They go out there, they play fast. They try to jack up a lot of shots. Their defense is a little bit on the weaker side, but that comes with a little bit more of experience and just commitment on that end. And those guys don't necessarily have the defensive capability right now to do much to stop other teams from scoring.
Right.
The Rockets putting up 100 points in this case is, it's all right, but a team like the Rockets is, they're basically the bottom rung of the entire league at this point.
Right.
So, it was a good win by the Bulls.
So that means, basically what you're saying is Chicago Bulls, if it were someone else actually facing the Rockets, obviously the Rockets still need a lot of work because of the fact, as per you, they're like pretty much at the end of the charts, if I'm not wrong.
They're ranked 14th in the Western Conference, which
Right.
is one away from the worst. So,
Right.
yeah, they need a lot of work.
Right.
And they're going to be trading a lot of their pieces too. So, we'll see what happens.
So, and what about Bulls? I mean, like, as you mentioned, that Bulls, as per you, they're not as per their best. What do you think could be at the actual change that can happen in making them a better team?
They're very youthful, right? They're probably the youngest average age team in the league
Right.
across the board, maybe first or second.
So they
right?
need more experience if that's where you're going at.
They need veterans. They need leadership. And some of the guys, like for example, Zach LaVine's been there for like 3 years now. He signed a pretty heavy contract with them a few years back. He needs to get out of there. It hasn't been a good fit. They haven't won many games. They've had a lot of injuries. Markkinen, one of their centerpieces, he's been injured out a lot. He's very talented as well. He plays the 4 and the 5, right, the center, the power forward position. But they have Thaddeus Young, who's one of their veterans. Guy's been in the league. He was drafted the same year LeBron was, 2003.
Right.
So he's been in the league for ages. But other than that, they're really not. Those guys are role players. You need leaders in the starting positions or in key spots that are kind of able to pull you through when you're up against it, or you need a single stop against a team or something along those lines.
Right. Let's talk about the second match that happened, which is the Dallas Mavericks actually defeating the Grizzlies 102-92. What's your take on that? Because Mavericks, Tim Hardaway Jr. actually scored 20 of his 29 points against the Grizzlies.
Yeah, with the Mavs, Mavs and the Grizzlies are both right there. Again, these guys are also very young, but they're in the thick of things as far as playoffs are concerned. At the end of the day, the main goal is to get to the playoffs, and then it's anybody's game, 4 out of 7, whoever wins that series, right? So the Mavs, they're doing pretty well. Tim Hardaway Jr. had 29 points, like you mentioned. He's been a key piece for them. Luka Doncic, who's their team leader, basically. 21 points, 7 boards, 5 assists. He's been pretty consistent. They've lost a few games that they shouldn't have.
Right.
And that's really due to the fact that there's, people missing games and kind of developing chemistry and all that stuff. But those guys are poised to be, at the very least, if not confirmed in the playoffs, they should be right in the bubble for the qualifying round. This year, the NBA has instituted a play-in tournament, basically. So if you're ranked between 8 and 12, you have to you can play yourself into the playoffs.
Right.
So anybody between those, usually, before it was the cutoff is 8. The 8th seed gets the final playoff spot, and that's it. But now that they've allowed this play-in, because of all the COVID and games being postponed and stuff, it gives everybody a shot to really make it to the playoffs.
Right. So, as talking about COVID, as we were discussing even off camera, with regards to the match that actually took place, in which obviously Kyrie Irving was missing. So that's exactly what I wanted to go for. The Brooklyn Nets trio was a duo. What's your take on the previous match that actually happened?
So it was actually Kevin Durant that was missing.
Oh yes,
due to the COVID protocol.
Yeah. Exactly.
Kyrie was hurt previously. He missed one game on the road trip. So the Nets just did a 5-game swing of the Pacific Division, which is basically both LA teams, Phoenix, Utah, and OKC, Oklahoma City.
Right.
And they swept everybody. So they went 5-0 in their road trip, which is tough to do because they're on the East Coast and to come out to the West Coast and play 5 games against the home teams and beat every one of them handily. And they have easily leapfrogged everybody else in the league right now as the number 1 team in the league. And all of this without Kevin Durant, who is their best player.
Right.
So what's happened is that James Harden, like we spoke about last time we had this conversation, was the fact that, how are they going to work? And what's happened is Kyrie Irving and James Harden have switched positions basically.
Right.
Kyrie usually plays the point guard, and James is the shooting guard. They've flipped, and James is a much better ball handler, much better distributor, and that's really got their offense clicking very well. Offensively speaking, this could end up being one of the greatest offensive teams that's ever played in the NBA.
Right.
Because you have 3 people on any given night can score 30 points each, easily.
Right. Have you noticed this one thing, or maybe it's just an observation with regards to the trio that the Brooklyn Nets have actually established? The trio is not really working, but I think when it comes to the duo, it definitely works well for them.
It's a matter of making the adjustment and making the sacrifices, right? Out of 3 people, there has to be a Batman, Robin, and then there has to be the Albert, right, the butler.
Yeah.
So one guy has to play the butler.
Interesting. Interesting.
That's the case. That's the case in this scenario. Like one guy has to play the role of butler, which means that all 3 of these guys are superstars, but one guy has to take a step back and say, you know what, I don't care about being in the headlines. I don't care about getting the top billing as long as we win. And that's the place. If they can make that work, I mean, it's tough to see any team beating them 4 games out of 7 in any series.
Right. With regards to the situation of Kevin Durant himself, obviously, was he going through an injury, or is it the coronavirus COVID protocol situation that he's been going through, which is like he missed 4 matches straight?
He had recovered from an injury recently, right? He was rehabbing the whole last year, right? He was out all last year because of his Achilles.
Right.
So he's come back from that, and now there's been some issues with the COVID protocol and this and that. That's the main reason why he's been missing some games right now. As far as health is concerned, I'm pretty certain that he's healthy and good to go. Whenever he's been on the floor, he's easily been the best player on that team, which is a scary sight to see.
Right. Well, thank you so very much, Nadir Malik, for being with us and discussing the insights about the NBA world. It's definitely providing us all the information that we need. Thank you very much for here. Anyways, that was Nadir Malik, and definitely we discussed about the world of NBA. And with regards to the world of NBA, there's so much happening, and we definitely want to ensure that we provide you all the information from all across the globe. Anyways, let's switch over to the Premier League. Yes, English Premier League, and we're talking about Crystal Palace win against Brighton. That actually happened 2-1. And with regards to the standings, if I look at it for you right now, they've actually moved up to the 13th place. And as we discussed earlier with regards to Premier League, Manchester City still stands on number 1. But yes, Crystal Palace, even though it manages to come on the number 13th, those who actually work for the Premier League want to ensure their teams are like on the top 4, but that's not really happening for them. However, the race is still on, but Manchester City still tops the charts because obviously they have a huge lead to cover, and I don't think anybody's going to cover that in this season. Anyways, this was pretty much all the insights with regards to the world of sports. All you can do is you can reach out to us on social media handle, which is @Indus News Sports, and we can surely get in touch that way. Till then, take good care of yourself, and bye-bye.